take the vertebrae out of your back just to fit inside of someone's ceiling. You have to stand up full and proud, stand up erect. You know what I mean?
Let's be very, very clear. It is possible that there isn't anything funnier than a guy in a dress. And if that's the case, then it might also be said that there's nothing funnier than a black guy in a dress.
So we were sitting in the service and I leaned up toward him and I said, I've just been touched to give $1 million.
Imagine clawing your way to Hollywood's glittering mountaintop, lights exploding, crowds chanting, cameras hungry for every breath, only to discover a single velvet-gloved hand tightening around your throat the moment you speak your own truth. Katt Williams calls it the hush money handshake. Terrence Howard labels it the velvet cage. Both men swear the same name sits at the center of that power web. Tyler Perry, the self-made billionaire who turned a wisecracking grandma in a house dress into a multimedia empire. Tonight, we're peeling back the stage curtains Perry stitched together, following the frayed threads of money, masculinity, and muffled dissent that wrap around two of Black Hollywood's most outspoken rebels, and asking whether any superstar is truly safe from the unseen grip that decides who shines and who vanishes. 3 when 1 times 1 equals 2, the credibility gambit. Terrence Howard's infamous red carpet rant that 1 times 1 equals 2 sounded like half joke, half cosmic awakening. Social media christened it Terroriology, late-night hosts shredded it, and studio offers slowed to a trickle. Katt Williams, never shy with a mic, mocked Hollywood math of a different sort, rattling off how syndicated sitcoms pull in billions while black creators net pennies. Both men's truth bombs, however eccentric, carried the same subtext. The system is rigged. Yet watchers noticed a double standard. When Perry proclaims he willed a studio into existence, or insists that the spirit told him how to cure despair, mainstream media charms it as visionary flair. When Katt or Terrance wax mystical, they're painted unstable. Every industry needs its acceptable eccentric. It appears Hollywood has room for exactly one, and he owns a backlot the size of a small nation. To Medea's billion-dollar shadow. Tyler Perry's rags to riches tale is industry scripture. Homeless playwright rents dusty theaters, hauls folding chairs in a pickup, then sets box offices ablaze. By 2019, he owned a 330-acre studio planted on a decommissioned Confederate base. Symbolism so on the nose it almost felt scripted. Yet for many black viewers, the meteoric rise came wrapped in discomfort. Perry's cross-dressing matriarch cracked up church audiences, but also reignited debates about emasculation and the recycling of minstrel tropes. Critics begged for nuance. Fans lined up anyway. Hollywood nodded, counted ticket stubs, and anointed Perry the most bankable black filmmaker alive. Meanwhile, dissenting voices, many smaller creatives once invited into his writer's room, whispered about 14-hour rewrites, non-union crews, gag order NDAs, and an unspoken code of loyalty no one dared test. Katt and Terrance would, but not yet, and when they did, the consequences felt almost orchestrated. 4. #Crossfire and the Teflon Tycoon. In an era when a single tweet can torpedo a career, Tyler Perry appears dipped in Teflon. #CancelTyler. Trends for a day after his All Lives Praise sermon. Netflix still signs him to a multi-picture deal by Friday. Meanwhile, Katt's 2012 Sacramento meltdown, sparked, he claims, by promoters stiffing crew payments, lands him in cuffs and on every tabloid front page. Terrance's transcript leak over Marvel pay negotiations tags him difficult. Within months, he's replaced by Don Cheadle and written out of blockbuster billions. Digital pitchforks swing hardest where there's least corporate protection. Industry gossip pins that shield around Perry's relationships with streaming giants and a Rolodex of politicians who adore his philanthropic headline splashes. So, when online outrage threatens, the platforms that might normally cut ties instead tighten ranks, leaving critics screaming into an algorithmic void while Tyler's next Medea sequel quietly hits pre-production. 5. The quiet blackballing of a leading man. Terrence Howard remembers the day silence got loud. Phones stopped buzzing, scripts stopped arriving, friends answered late, if at all. One confidant revealed whispered advice from a studio head: Terrance needs to kiss the ring or bow out gracefully. Ring, singular. Rumor traced that ring back to Atlanta, where a certain mogul was allegedly upset over Howard's refusal to cameo in a faith-based sitcom revival. No proof on paper, only hush-hush calls and calendar invites mysteriously vanishing. Howard's peers watched and learned. Voice concerns about pay equity or creative control, and the machine simply stops feeding you. He survived on independent roles, foreign productions, and the occasional art house gem. Creative freedom, yes, but a far cry from the 9-figure franchise he once anchored. The velvet cage, it turns out, doesn't need bars. It just needs silence. 6. Katt Williams, laughing at the lion's den. Katt Williams never met a microphone he couldn't scorch. Netflix specials, Breakfast Club blow-ups, Club Shay Shay shreddings. Each rant a Molotov flung at nameless execs who pay for silence and yachts and back-end points. He jokes that his phone line is tapped, half comedy, half confession. When he riffed that one Atlanta power player keeps scripts in one hand and leash contracts in the other, insiders swear they knew the silhouette. Within weeks, a multi-state tour evaporated after city permits couldn't be processed in time. Coincidence? Katt doubts it. Yet every new cancellation fuels his next set, the rebel jester volleying barbs at the court, daring the king to swing. Each time he names no names, but audiences connect dots faster than lawyers can craft cease and desists. 7. Inside the Perryplex, stories they can't tell. Legally. Former crew described Tyler Perry Studios as equal parts dream factory and high-security embassy. Phones surrendered at the gate, scripts watermarked to individual fingerprints. Security patrols gliding past soundstages at 3 a.m. More than one writer claims they were escorted off lot for asking whether a scene's message reinforced harmful stereotypes. Another recalls being pulled aside after tweeting vague frustration about non-union conditions and offered either a pay bump or the door. Most took the bump, rent waits for no principled stand, and signed thicker NDAs. The ones who left speak in hypotheticals on podcasts with blurred faces, describing a culture of loyalty that masquerades as family. Success there is intoxicating. Walk those backlot streets named after Oprah and Denzel, feel generational limits shatter, but step out of line, and the raw wind of isolation is brutal. Blackballing isn't a rumor, it's a policy, just rarely typed in ink. 8. The cost of a single storyteller. Representation matters, yes, but what happens when representation funnels through one megaphone? Perry's studio dwarfs every other Black-owned production lot combined. His catalog saturates cable syndication, and his streaming deals guarantee a Medea laugh track almost any hour of the day. With that reach comes narrative power. He alone decides whether a dark-skinned heroine triumphs or betrays, whether a Black father saves the day or slaps his child for comedic relief. Katt argues that nuance dies when variety dies. Hollywood lumps all Black voices under one banner and calls it progress. Terrance spins it more poetically. One gardener planting monoculture may feed the town once, but long-term, the soil turns to dust. Either way, when dissent goes quiet, stereotypes calcify. The empire looks sturdy until fresh faces realize they're walking the same 3 recycled storylines, and the audience, eventually, starts side-eyeing the rerun. 9. The audience audit, crowns, and guillotines. Here's the twist the tycoon least expects. The same crowd handing him the crown can yank it down. Every ticket purchase, every autoplay, every binge-watch binge is a vote. Hollywood accountants read votes in green ink. Streams drop, meetings turn tense, and the grip loosens. Both Katt and Terrance plead with fans not to #cancel, but to calibrate. Reward layered storytelling, amplify indie Black filmmakers' crowdfunding nuance, challenge algorithms with deliberate clicks. Executive boards fear silence more than hashtags. Perry's empire, for all its might, cannot bankroll itself without the wallets of viewers itching for something new. And if those viewers demand better math, sharper scripts, real masculinity untethered from comic dresses, the industry will shift, because it must. Conclusion. The Spotlight's reversal, Katt Williams, and Terrence Howard never asked you to hate Tyler Perry. They asked you to see the machinery. A kingdom that powerful can nurture entire generations of Black artists, or quietly starve the ones who question its terms. The next time a headline trumpets another Tyler Perry record, remember the silence echoing beneath. Jokes you didn't hear, roles you never saw. Talent exiled because it refused to bend. Yet the stage lights swing, and the grip can falter, because the real power, buried beneath red carpet dazzle, still belongs to the crowd that can choose to clap, to boo, or simply to walk away. What story will you bankroll tomorrow?